Hi guys, I'm a Forester here with an update on our September retirement expenses. I started recording our expenses in July when I first retired, so I've reported it for July, for August, and now September. Now that's 1/4 of a year, and over that period of time I've been able to see two tendencies. And one is good, one is not so good. But the first tendency is that in each of those months we had at least one, maybe two large expenses that we could plan for and we could handle, but they were large expenses that made our expenditures unusually high that month. So in July we had planned to carpet our living room, so we did purchase the carpet, had it installed, and that was a large expense that we had planned for. But the other thing was our catalytic converter in our Buick went out and had to be replaced. That was unplanned for. So we had two large expenses in July. In August, it was the furniture to go into the living room that we remodeled. Then in September, this month that I'm reporting on now, which I'll go into more detail, but it was auto insurance, which is a large bill. And so I'll report on auto insurance, and also people ask me, well, how's retirement? And I've started to say just recently, I'm living the dream. And just as a humorous way of stating it, but this month of September we actually did take two mini vacations and then one larger vacation that I'll tell you a little bit about. I think these large one-time expenses are going to keep going every month though. So in October we have the rest of the large vacation to report, as well as homeowners insurance. November, Black Friday, and I have some plans for how to spend some money on Black Friday. And then in December, of course, Christmas. And I think we'll be taking another vacation probably sometime December or January. So these one-time or these large expenditures per month have been very consistent. And that's good because they don't all come in one month, but we've been spreading them out over time. The other tendency that I've seen is that our total expenditures have been very consistent. That's a good thing. So I wrote these down. In July, we spent a total of $5,805. In August, $5,889. And this month, the figure is $5,898. All below $6,000. Now, I'm using our Social Security, joint Social Security for my wife and I, as a benchmark to track our expenditures to, or to tie our expenditures to. That's $5,666. So we've gone over each month by $200 to $300, but that's not bad, and it's very consistent. So that'll be, I don't know if we can continue doing that in the future, but we'll just have to see. Now I'll get into the details. I don't want to make this long. This is the book we've been recording our expenses in. I'm not going to show that this month. You can go back in July and August if you want to see how we do that. One thing I will note is that I categorize each expenditure as either essential or discretionary, and I think that's important to do. So I have written down some summary statistics. I'm going to cut the video and then go to the tabletop to show that. Y'all stay tuned. Okay, here we are at the tabletop. These are the summary statistics, and hopefully you can read this. This is for September 2025. I've already given you this figure. It's $5,898. This is the most we've spent of any of the 3 months, but they're very similar. There's maybe $100 difference from the highest to the lowest. Okay, I don't know that this is that important, but I started tracking it. How many days out of the month did we actually spend money? And this month we spent money 24 out of the 30 days in the month of September. I do want to make a point to always point this out, because the figures are going to change at the end of 1 year when I include these 3 things. So income taxes. You know, on the income from Social Security, I am including I'm not including income taxes on mine, but I am on my wife's. So it's sort of a mixed bag. I'm going to get all that straight at the end of the year when I do our taxes. So that'll be included later on. Medical insurance premiums I'm not including, and then also charitable giving I'm not including because I'm going to do that in a QCD later in the year, just in a month or two. So here's, if you take the total amount of money that we spent, divide it by the number of days in the month, it comes to $196, and that's both essential and discretionary. If you exclude the discretionary, and my definition of discretionary is simply you could put it off if you needed to. So we could take a vacation this month, or we could take it next month, or we could not take it at all. So if you eliminate the discretionary, we spend an average of $112 per day for the month of September. And then the big ticket items for the month of September. The biggest one was a Portugal vacation. So we took 3 vacations, and they're all listed here. But the Portugal vacation was a 9-day vacation to Lisbon and Porto. And I'll put some pictures at the end of this video or scatter them throughout just to give you an idea of what we did and how we enjoyed it. But this included airfare, hotel, food, high-speed train that we took from Lisbon to Porto. And the first few days of this trip were in September. That's why I'm including this. Most of the trip was in October. Okay, we took a short trip, a 2-day trip to Great Wolf Lodge in Concord, North Carolina. That was for the grandkids. We've done that 2 years in a row, and they really enjoy it. I took a trip myself to the Cradle of Forestry. I met an old forestry friend that I used to work with there. We had breakfast in Hendersonville and then drove up to the Cradle of Forestry. Really enjoyed ourselves, and then stopped by Sliding Rock on the way back. And then the other big ticket item was our auto insurance. And I will say, I think I made a video on this, but I did get a good discount by changing my carrier from auto owners over to Progressive. So that was a lot lower cost. No, excuse me. So three of these items were discretionary. The auto insurance was essential. But if you add them together, they came to $3,517, and that made up 60% of our September expenses. All right, let me turn the computer on and show you this data in charts. I keep this data on a Google Drive template. I've shown that to you before, I think in the July video that I made. So it shows income and expenses, and they're very close to each other. So I only have 3 months in here: July, August, and September. Down here is the total of our Social Security, 5666. That's for my wife and I both, and I kept that consistent from month to month. Our expenditures, I already gave you these figures, and they've been, the lowest was 5805 and the highest was 5,898. This shows our deficit, and so as of now we've gone over our Social Security by $595. Okay, that's very promising to me because we're very consistent from month to month so far. And then I wanted to show you this graph right here. Let me bring it down just a little. So this is a pie chart that shows our major categories, and let me stretch it down because two of them are hidden. I know. Okay, and so the one that really jumps out is this one that's 44.2%, and that is our home. So that's largely the carpet, the installation, the furniture, and that's been a big expense for the first quarter. Now this is reporting for the total expenses for the first quarter that we took this data down. So 44% of what we spent over the past 3 months has been for our home. But the others have changed a little bit. So number 2 is this orange, and that's every day. That's a number of things, but the biggest thing is groceries and restaurants. And there's quite a few other things too, but those are the two biggest categories. That's still large, 16% of our first quarter expenses, but one that just zoomed from 0 to 13.7% has been travel, and that's primarily the 3 vacations that I talked about. And then the fourth highest is this one at 7.7%, and that is transportation. So that's our cars, maintaining our cars and fuel. So those are our expenses for the first quarter. I think they're going to stay fairly consistent, and that's a good thing. I'm going to continue tracking this myself. I'm not sure whether I'll report it on a month-to-month basis, though, because it's going to change dramatically at the end of one year, and I'll definitely give an update at that time. Y'all take care and stay tuned for some pictures of our Portugal vacation.